They said the outfits were too revealing. The choreography was over-sexualized. The lyrics were shallow. From the very beginning, the group sat at the center of a cultural collision. The high-pressure K-pop training system meeting a Western audience newly sensitized to the ethics of reality television. Then came the Netflix docuseries Popstar Academy, Katseye. It showed tension. Viewers watched trainees, some as young as 14, navigating a system critics described as horrifying, soulless, even outdated. The 90s-style discipline shocked Western audiences. There were reports of serious physical tolls. One trainee even required a hip replacement. Then things escalated. The collaborative training model shifted, abruptly, into a survival format. Trainees who had spent more than a year building teamwork were suddenly forced into public voting cycles. The eliminations were delivered by robotic voice, in an empty room. A production decision many viewers called dehumanizing. Critics accused the show of crafting a mean girls versus victim narrative. Members like Sophia and Lara faced waves of online harassment as viewers interpreted edited moments as fixed personality truths. But something unexpected happened. Instead of collapsing under that narrative, the final lineup reframed it. They insisted the documentary showed only a fraction of their real relationships. They didn't lean heavily on the evil editing defense. They projected camaraderie, consistency, sisterhood. And slowly, fans began to see sisterhood instead of rivalry. However, the most combustible controversy centered on former trainee Adella. Adella's elimination sparked an industry-wide debate about meritocracy versus star quality. She argued that the selection process appeared inconsistent. Her frustration focused particularly on Manon Bannerman's retention despite alleged missed rehearsals and broken curfews. From Adella's perspective, the system favored aesthetics and racial diversity over traditional K-pop metrics like discipline and rehearsal consistency. She entered the competition with a stronger technical baseline, and she felt that hard work was being overshadowed by what she perceived as pretty privilege.
Like, Manon, she's getting so much attention. You know, people are upset because she doesn't put a lot of effort and she doesn't show up for her teams a lot. And so people are upset that she is the person who's getting so much attention. It's not based on anything right now. It's just because she's pretty, and that's true. She is pretty.
Manon supporters countered with a different framework entirely. They argued that Manon's charisma, her so-called it factor, was unteachable. That public voting proved her viability as a global pop commodity. That prioritizing mental health boundaries in a toxic system was not weakness, but strength. Adella contextualized her frustration through what she described as Slavic cultural oppression, a social phenomenon where ambitious individuals are cut down to size, a trait she linked to Slovakia's communist history.
The Americans experience what, a Slovak would experience all the time. We don't ever get represented, ever.
Her blunt honesty earned her praise in some circles and intense harassment in others. She was labeled a mean girl and an attention seeker by segments of the fandom. Yet, as Katseye debuted, the narrative shifted. What began as a bullying storyline evolved into a broader critique of pop manufacturing itself. And off-screen, something even more important was happening. Adella maintained friendships with several members. Megan and Lara even presented her with a cake during her solo tour. Recently, Adella publicly supported the group at the 68th Annual Grammy Awards, signaling closure rather than conflict. Her own solo career, music exploring fame and trauma, found resonance among fans who had matured alongside the trainees. The rift narrative dissolved. While critics debated merit, Katseye leaned into something far more disruptive: radical authenticity. In early 2025, Lara and Megan came out publicly, Lara identifying as queer and Megan as bisexual. In an industry historically defined by strict image control, this was seismic. Lara described herself playfully as half fruitcake, while Megan made her announcement during Pride Month via livestream. These were not PR-approved press releases. They were direct communications to fans via Weverse and Instagram. Lara later received the Blooming Impact Award from the LGBT Center in Los Angeles for her advocacy, emphasizing representation for brown and South Asian queer women, demographics often erased in both pop and LGBTQ+ spaces. Megan went further, openly discussing her struggle with mental health. In doing so, she normalized mental health conversations in an industry known for suppressing vulnerability. Their song Mean Girls included lyrical support for trans women, aligning the group with progressive Gen Z values. This openness marked a radical departure from traditional K-pop norms, including the industry's infamous non-dating culture. Katseye shared relationships, struggles, and health issues publicly. This autonomy was strategic. Authenticity became their armor. Meanwhile, the numbers told an even louder story. Right now, Katseye has reached over 30 million monthly Spotify listeners, a record for girl groups. They placed 3 simultaneous tracks on the Billboard Hot 100, Gabriela, Internet Girl, and Gnarly. Their album Beautiful Chaos peaked at number 4 on the Billboard 200, proving strong physical and digital sales. Bloomberg ranked them number 12 in its Pop Star Power rankings, placing them alongside Post Malone, Bruno Mars, and Beyoncé. This is catalog strength, a hallmark of K-pop's long-term loyalty model. Rather than relying on one breakout hit, Katseye built sustained market pull through constant engagement and algorithm-driven discovery. Their Gap Milkshake campaign surpassed 400 million views and was praised for diversity and timing, especially in contrast to backlash faced by legacy brands like American Eagle and Victoria's Secret. And then came institutional validation. On February 4th, 2026, Katseye made their late-night debut on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. Performing Internet Girl, they showcased synchronized choreography and vocal range while participating in fan-submitted interview segments. The show's bookers, known for featuring big fish with strong digital pull, positioned them alongside established figures like Ethan Hawke and Nick Jonas. It was a rite of passage, a signal of mainstream legitimacy. Simultaneously, The Washington Post included Katseye in its Post-Next 50 list, identifying individuals shaping American society. The publication described them as an emerging force in arts and entertainment that had broken the mold of K-pop by prioritizing individuality over accuracy. The Post emphasized their racial diversity: Indian, Filipino, Latino, and Black members spanning 3 continents, framing them as a cultural bridge between East and West. They praised the group's eccentricity, emotion, and honesty. Their willingness to share personal lives was framed as revolutionary within idol culture. The institutional praise coincided with news of a Super Bowl advertisement appearance, cementing them as a household name. Then came the Grammys. Katseye earned 2 nominations at the 68th Grammy Awards, Best New Artist and Best Pop Duo/Group Performance for Gabriela. Some corners of Stan Twitter dismissed them as not real musical artists, but the Recording Academy's decision signaled recognition of both their commercial dominance and cultural impact. Their performance of Gnarly at the ceremony was described as a power move, featuring a complex dance break that validated the rigor of their training period. And in a moment loaded with symbolism, Adella publicly supported the group at Grammy events, closing the loop on what once fueled cancellation narratives. What began as a reality TV controversy ended as institutional reconciliation. Katseye's rise demonstrates something larger than fandom loyalty. It proves that the K-pop methodology, when adapted to a Western market that values vulnerability over polish, can produce not just hits, but cultural shifts. They moved away from accuracy over individuality. They redefined the idol as transparent and fallible. They normalized queerness, anxiety, and pharmaceutical treatment in pop. They turned public conflict into narrative capital. As they head deeper into 2026 with Grammy recognition, late-night legitimacy, Super Bowl advertising, and post-Next 50 validation, Katseye stands as a blueprint for the next generation of global entertainment. Cancel culture did not destroy them, it refined them, and in doing so, it may have revealed the future of pop stardom itself.